The homeless teen who saved the principal's daughter. I was the girl everyone whispered about. The one teachers shook their heads at. The one parents told their kids to stay away from. 17. Homeless. Dragging my little brother to school every morning with bags under my eyes. They said I was trash. They said I'd ruined my life. They said kids like me didn't belong here. I didn't argue. What could I say? When you live in a shelter, the truth is louder than words. Every morning I'd sneak in before the cafeteria opened. I'd sit my brother down at a corner table, and I'd slide him a sandwich I saved from yesterday's lunch. The janitor looked away. The lunch lady sighed but didn't stop me. But the moms? Oh, they loved their whispers. She's dangerous. She's a bad influence. She's probably on drugs. I pretended not to hear, but I heard every word. The worst part? The principal's wife. The woman who ran every PTA meeting, every fundraiser, every coffee morning. She looked at me like I carried a disease, like just breathing near her daughter would infect her. You don't belong here, she told me once, straight to my face. Her voice was sweet enough for others to hear, but her eyes? Pure venom. I bit my tongue, because I had bigger problems, like keeping my brother fed, like finding a bed every night. Still, her words stuck like glue. You don't belong here, and I didn't know it yet, but the same woman who wanted me gone was about to need me more than anyone. The bell hadn't even rung yet, but I was already in the cafeteria. The shelter kicked us out at 6. Rain or shine, cold or colder, rules were rules. So I brought my brother here, where at least there was light and heat, and if we were lucky, leftover cereal. He was only 8, too small for the weight he carried, too quiet for a boy his age. I'd spread his homework on the table, pretend like this was normal, like we weren't hiding our backpacks under the table legs, like we weren't carrying our whole lives in those bags. Sometimes he asked when we'd have a real house again. I never had an answer. I'd just say, soon. Even though I had no idea, I watched the clock. Every tick dragged, every second stretched, and then, the sound I hated most, heels clicking, voices laughing, the morning wave of PTA moms, perfect hair, perfect nails, perfect kids trailing behind them with polished shoes. Their eyes landed on me, every single time. Whispers under breath, not soft enough to miss. That poor child. Her mother's probably strung out. She's a walking cautionary tale. My brother lowered his head, pretended he couldn't hear, but I knew he did, because so did I, and no matter how many times I told myself to be strong, those words still cut. I gripped his hand under the table, tighter than I meant to, and whispered back the only truth I knew. They don't matter. We matter. But inside, I wasn't so sure. The school was buzzing that Friday, not because of classes. Nobody cared about math that day. It was the annual fundraiser, the one where the gym turned into a carnival. Games, balloons, food stalls, and parents flashing their wallets like trophies. I wasn't invited. Not really, but the principal told me I could earn a few credits if I helped set up. Extra work, no pay. Still, I said yes, because credits meant graduation, and graduation meant maybe a future. So while everyone else planned their outfits, I dragged chairs across the gym floor, stacked tables, rolled carts full of bottled water. The other kids barely noticed me, except when they wanted to laugh. Careful, don't drop that. She's probably too weak from skipping breakfast. Snickers, eyes cutting sharp. I swallowed it down. Like always, across the gym, I saw her, the principal's wife, queen of the PTA, directing parents like an army general. Her daughter trailed behind her, a little girl with curls bouncing at her shoulders, sweet face, shy eyes. She looked nothing like her mother. At one point, she glanced at me, quick, curious, like she wanted to wave, but her mom's hand yanked her forward, and just like that, the moment was gone. I kept working, stacking, carrying, sweating, but I couldn't shake it. That tiny glance, those curious eyes. The girl didn't hate me, not yet, but the night wasn't over, and none of us knew. By the end, everything would change. By the time parents started flooding in, the gym looked like a carnival. Lights strung across the ceiling, banners hanging from the walls, the smell of popcorn thick in the air. Everyone laughed, everyone smiled, everyone belonged, except me. I stood by the water table, refilling cups. My hands smelled like bleach from scrubbing floors earlier. My shirt stuck with sweat. I told myself it didn't matter. I was invisible here, just another helper in the background, but invisible? Not to them. A group of moms passed by, the ones with glittering rings and designer bags. Their eyes landed on me instantly. That's her, the one from the shelter. Honestly, why is she even allowed in here? My throat tightened. I kept pouring water, cup after cup. One mom laughed louder than the rest. Careful everyone. Hide your wallets. She might take more than water. The group erupted, sharp giggles stabbing through the air. People turned to look. Heat rushed to my face. I wanted to disappear, but there was nowhere to hide. Across the gym, I caught sight of the principal's wife. Her lips curled into the smallest smirk, like she'd lit the match herself. My brother tugged at my sleeve. He'd come to watch, hoping for free snacks. Don't listen to them, he whispered, but his voice shook. I forced a smile for him, pretended I didn't care, pretended I wasn't breaking inside. But just as I bent to toss the empty pitcher, I heard it, a scream, high-pitched, panicked, cutting through the laughter. I spun, and what I saw froze my blood. The principal's daughter, her small hands clutching her throat, her lips already turning pale. The smirk on her mother's face vanished, replaced with raw terror. And in that moment, all the whispers, all the shame, all the laughter, none of it mattered anymore. The little girl's eyes were wide, her hands clawed at her throat. No sound came out, just silence, terrifying silence. Her mother screamed, shrill, broken, but did nothing. The gym erupted, chairs scraped, kids cried, parents shouted over each other, call 911, she's choking, somebody help, but nobody moved. They stood frozen, phones out, recording, always recording. The girl's face turned red, then purple, her knees buckled. I dropped the pitcher, water splashed across the floor. My heart slammed in my chest. I'd seen this before, at the shelter. In a training they made us take, how to help someone choking. Back then, I didn't think I'd ever need it, but now it was life or death. I sprinted across the gym. Parents gasped. One voice cut through the chaos. Don't touch her. It was the principal's wife. Her eyes were wild, her hand outstretched like she could stop me, but the girl's lips were blue now, her small body jerking, seconds slipping away. I didn't listen. I couldn't, because in that moment, I wasn't the homeless girl. I wasn't the failure. I was the only one who knew what to do. I shoved past her mother, dropped to my knees behind the little girl. Her body was limp, her lips almost gray. No time, no hesitation. I wrapped my arms around her tiny waist, fist tight, other hand locked over it, and I pulled hard. 1. Her chest jolted forward. 2. A wheeze, a strangled gasp. 3. Nothing. My arms shook. My heartbeat roared in my ears. Please, I whispered, and I pulled again. 4. Her body lurched, her eyes rolled. Then, a wet, horrible sound, and a grape shot out, skidding across the gym floor. She collapsed in my arms, coughing, screaming, breathing. The sound hit like thunder, the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. Her mother fell to the ground, sobbing, clutching her daughter's face, kissing her forehead, repeating her name over and over. The crowd was silent, hundreds of eyes locked on me, the girl still gasping against my chest, and for the first time ever, nobody whispered. whispered. The gym was frozen, like time had stopped. The only sound, the little girl's coughing, her sharp, desperate breaths, her mother's sobs, everyone else silent, staring, like they couldn't believe what just happened. The grape lay on the floor, small, innocent, but it looked like a bullet, like the thing that almost ended her life. I knelt there, still holding her. My arms ached from pulling so hard. My chest ached from fear. The principal rushed forward, dropped to the floor beside his wife, his hands shaking as he touched his daughter's back. She's okay, he whispered, over and over. She's okay. Then his eyes lifted, to me, not with anger, not with disgust, but something else, something I'd never seen before. Respect. I lowered the girl into her parents' arms. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. I wanted to disappear again, melt into the floor, but the stares didn't stop. Hundreds of them, the same people who laughed at me minutes ago, now looking at me like they didn't know who I was. I stood. My legs felt weak. My brother's wide eyes followed me, and for the first time ever, he didn't look ashamed of me. He looked proud. The silence didn't last. It never did. Whispers started first, soft, uneasy, then sharper. She actually saved her. Did you see that? I didn't think she knew anything. I could feel the shift, like the whole room was rewiring itself. The same moms who mocked me minutes ago now watched me like I was a stranger, like they'd never seen me before. One mom clutched her pearls. Thank God she was here. Her voice trembled, but her eyes, still cold. Another spoke louder. Anyone could have done that. She just happened to be closest. My fists curled at my sides. I wanted to scream, but my throat was dry. The principal's wife still clung to her daughter, her perfect hair tangled, her makeup streaked with tears. She hadn't looked at me once, not once, but the principal had. He hadn't stopped. His gaze locked on me like he was piecing me together, like maybe he finally saw me. My brother tugged my sleeve. Let's go, he whispered, and I wanted to, so badly, but the weight of those stares pinned me in place. Not shame this time, something heavier, expectation, like they were all waiting to see what I would do next. The principal's wife finally stood, her daughter safe in her arms, her face blotched with tears. For a moment, I thought she'd look at me, maybe even thank me, but no, she straightened her shoulders, lifted her chin, and said the words sharp enough to cut. She would have been fine. Her voice cracked, but she pushed through. She just panicked. You overreacted. Gasps rippled through the gym. Parents glanced at each other, confused, uncomfortable. The principal's jaw tightened, but he stayed silent, his wife's pride filling the space. She didn't need help, she continued. She's strong. She pointed at me. You could have hurt her. The crowd shifted, some nodding, others frowning. Heat flushed my face. My hands still trembled from the rescue, and now she was rewriting it, twisting it, like saving her daughter was a crime. My brother's small hand slid into mine. His eyes said everything. Don't fight. Not here. So I swallowed my words, bit down hard on the truth. But the principal's wife wasn't done. She held her daughter tighter, glared at me with those same venom eyes. You shouldn't even be near children. Her voice rang across the gym, loud, final, and just like that, the whispers began again. The gym buzzed with whispers. Her words hung heavy in the air. Accusation, dismissal. I felt every eye on me, waiting, judging, and then, a voice cut through. Firm, steady, enough. The principal stepped forward, his face pale, his hands still trembling, but his voice, unshakable. She was choking. His eyes locked on his wife. She couldn't breathe. Silence fell again. No one dared move. She saved our daughter, he continued. Everyone here saw it. The wife stiffened, her jaw clenched, her grip on the little girl tightened, but the principal didn't stop. He turned toward me. Thank you. The words rang out, simple, clear, but heavy with meaning. My breath caught. No one at this school had ever thanked me, not for anything. For a second, I couldn't speak, couldn't move, so I just nodded, because if I opened my mouth, I knew my voice would break. The crowd shifted again, parents whispering, some nodding, some frowning, but one thing was clear, the story had cracked, and now, nothing would be the same. By morning, everyone knew. I felt it the second I walked through the doors. Heads turned, whispers followed, eyes tracked me down the hall, not the usual kind, not just mockery, something new, curiosity, confusion. Is that her? She's the one who saved the kid. I didn't know she even knew CPR. I kept my head down, but the words still stuck. Teachers stared longer than usual. One even smiled at me, awkward, forced, like she didn't know how. In the cafeteria, kids moved out of the way when I walked by. Some whispered thanks, others just stared like I'd grown a second head, but it wasn't all good. It never is. At the corner table, a group of moms sat with their coffees. Even in school, they lingered. Their voices carried. She just got lucky. Anyone could have done it. Watch, she'll use this for attention. I clenched my fists, pretended not to hear, but every word landed. Across the hall, the principal walked past. He nodded at me, small, respectful, but real. And in that tiny moment, I realized something. For the first time, they couldn't ignore me. By the end of the week, the whispers had changed again. Not about what happened, but about what she said happened. The principal's wife, the queen of every hallway, the voice that carried farther than truth ever could. She didn't really save her. She just panicked and grabbed the child. Could have broken her ribs. Could have killed her. The rumors spread like wildfire, each retelling worse than the last. Now kids whispered, did you hear? She almost hurt the principal's daughter. She just wants attention. My mom said she should be expelled. Expelled. The word hit like a slap, as if homelessness wasn't enough. Now they wanted me gone completely. My brother heard it too, his small face pale with fear. Are they going to take us away? He asked one night. I forced a smile, shook my head, but inside, my stomach twisted, because I knew the power she had. One lie from her was louder than all my truths combined, and if she decided to make me the villain, no one would stop her. It happened Monday morning, halfway through first period. The intercom crackled, and then my name, sharp, clear, please report to the principal's office. Every head turned, every whisper started. You'd think I was being marched to trial. My palms went sweaty. My brother's worried face flashed in my mind. What if the rumors were true? What if they were kicking me out? The walk down the hall felt endless, lockers slamming, footsteps echoing, every glance another stone on my back. At the office door, my knees almost gave, but I forced myself to push it open. Inside, the principal sat behind his desk. No smile, no anger either, just unreadable. Beside him, his wife, her arms crossed, her glare burning holes straight through me. I froze in the doorway, my heart pounding so loud, I swore they could hear it. Sit, the principal said, his voice steady, too steady. I lowered myself into the chair, my hands knotted in my lap, every nerve screaming. This was it, the moment everything crashed. The silence stretched, thick, heavy, every second pressed against my chest. Then she struck, the principal's wife, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. She's dangerous. The words dropped like stones. She grabbed my daughter without permission, used some street trick she probably saw online. She could have broken ribs. She could have killed her. Her eyes drilled into me, like she was daring me to fight back. I opened my mouth, but the words caught in my throat. What defense did I have? The grape on the floor? The child gasping for air? The truth felt invisible against her venom. She doesn't belong here, she continued. Not in this school. Not Not near these kids, and certainly not near mine. Her voice rose. Tears pricked her eyes. A performance for the ages. She wants attention. That's all this was. A pathetic stunt. My fists tightened in my lap. Heat crawled up my neck. My chest burned with words I couldn't say. The principal didn't move, didn't speak, just watched. Every second of silence felt like a verdict, and I could feel the ground slipping beneath me. The air was suffocating. Her words still hung sharp in the room. I could almost feel them stabbing into my skin. Then finally, the principal spoke. Enough. His voice low, firm. He turned his gaze on me. Not unkind, not forgiving either. Just steady. Tell me what happened, he said. My throat tightened. Every instinct screamed to stay silent. Silence had always kept me safe, but this time, silence meant surrender. So I forced my voice out. Shaky, quiet, but real. She was choking. The words barely more than a whisper. I took a breath, made myself meet his eyes. She couldn't breathe. Her lips were blue. I knew what to do, so I did it. The wife scoffed. Ridiculous. But the principal held up his hand, stopping her, letting me continue. I didn't do it for thanks, I said. I didn't do it for attention. I did it because she was dying, and no one else moved. Silence again, but this time, it wasn't suffocating. It was heavy, waiting. The principal leaned back, studied me, measured every word I'd said, and for the first time in my life, someone in power was actually listening. The moment my words faded, she snapped. The principal's wife shot to her feet. Her chair screeched against the tile. Lies, she spat, her face red, her hands trembling. She's twisting the story, turning herself into some kind of hero. Her finger jabbed the air at me, every word like a knife. She's unstable, she's manipulative, she's dangerous. Her voice cracked, but she pushed through, louder. She doesn't belong in this school. She doesn't belong near anyone's children. Do you want the parents to riot? Do you want donors pulling their money? Because that's exactly what will happen if you let her stay. My stomach dropped. The room tilted. She wasn't just trying to destroy me. She was building her case like a lawyer. And I had nothing but the truth, a truth nobody wanted to hear. She turned to her husband, her eyes blazing. You know I'm right, she hissed. She needs to go. Now. The office went quiet again, her words heavy in the air. And for a heartbeat, I thought she'd won. But then the principal's jaw tightened, and the doubt I saw in his eyes was the first crack in her wall. The principal didn't answer right away. He just stared at his desk, hands folded, jaw tight. His wife's glare burned holes through him, waiting, demanding. Finally, he spoke. She was choking. His voice was low, measured. He looked at me, then back at his wife. I saw it. Her lips were blue. She wasn't breathing. The wife shook her head, furious. She would have been fine. Children cough all the time. She just wanted attention. No. His voice cut through hers, sharp, final. She wasn't fine. And if she had been left alone, he swallowed hard, we'd be planning a funeral right now. The room went still. Her face paled, but her eyes stayed hard. You're siding with her? She snapped. Her hand sliced through the air, pointing at me like I was poison. A homeless dropout? Over your own wife? The principal's gaze didn't waver. I'm siding with the truth. The words landed heavy. For the first time, someone had chosen my truth over her lies. And in that tiny moment, the wall she'd built around herself began to crack. The air in the office crackled. Her face flushed deep red. Her hands clenched tight at her sides. For a second, I thought she'd scream again, or throw something. But instead, she smiled. Not warm, not soft. A smile sharp as glass. Fine, she said, her voice dripping with poison. If you won't protect this school, I will. She gathered her purse, snapped the clasp shut like a final blow. This isn't over. Her eyes cut into me. You don't belong here, and I'll make sure everyone knows it. She turned on her heel. The door slammed behind her. The sound echoed like thunder. Silence filled the room again. The principal let out a long breath. He looked older, tired. But me? I sat frozen. Her words buzzing in my ears. This isn't over. I believed her. Every syllable. Because women like her didn't lose. They didn't forgive. They destroyed. And I had just become her target. The door clicked shut behind me. The office walls had felt suffocating. But the hallway wasn't better. Eyes were waiting. Students pretending to dig in lockers. Teachers lingering too long by the bulletin board. Every glance landed on me. Some curious. Some sharp. All heavy. Whispers rose instantly. Like smoke from a fire. Why was she in there? I heard the wife was furious. Bet she's getting expelled. I walked faster. Kept my head down. But the words clung to me. Every step, another rumor stitched to my name. When I reached the cafeteria, my brother was waiting. His small hands twisting the strap of his backpack. His face pale. What happened? He whispered. Are they kicking us out? I crouched down. Forced my voice steady. No, not yet. But my chest was tight. Because I knew the truth. The wife wasn't done. She was just starting. And soon, it wouldn't just be whispers in the hallway. It would be everywhere. By Friday, the whispers weren't whispers anymore. They were shouts, phone calls, Facebook posts, and the center of it all, the PTA meeting, packed tighter than ever. I shouldn't have gone, but I wanted to hear for myself what they were saying, what she was planning. So I slipped into the back, sat low, invisible if I could be. The principal's wife stood at the front. Perfect hair, perfect poise, voice ringing clear. She's a danger to our children, she declared. She shouldn't be in this school, not near our families, not after what she pulled. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Mothers shaking their heads, fathers crossing their arms. She pretended to be a hero, but it was reckless, irresponsible. And if my daughter had been hurt, her voice cracked, we'd be suing this school. Applause erupted, loud, confident, like a verdict handed down. My chest tightened, my throat burned. Then another voice rose, shaky, unsure. But she saved her, didn't she? Heads turned. Silence fell for a second. The wife's smile didn't waver. She was lucky, that's all. And luck is not what protects children. We need rules. We need safety. We need her gone. Cheers again. The sound swallowed the room whole. And in the back, I sat frozen, knowing I was no longer just a rumor. I was the enemy. The meeting ended in thunder. Chairs scraping. Parents buzzing with righteous fury. I stayed low in the back. Waited until the crowd thinned. Until the voices faded down the hall. Then I slipped out. Kept my head down. My heart pounding. But footsteps followed. Quick. Hesitant. Wait. I turned. A woman stood there. Not one of the polished queens from the front row. Her hair was messy. Her clothes simple. She held her purse tight against her side. Her eyes darting. Nervous. I saw what you did, she said softly. Her voice barely above a whisper. At the fundraiser. With the girl. My chest tightened. I waited for the accusation. The warning. The threat. But instead, she swallowed hard. You saved her. 3 words. Small. But they cracked something inside me. I know what it's like, she added quickly. My son's sick. People look at me the same way. Like I'm failing him. Like I'm not enough. Her eyes glistened. She shifted her purse higher. Then leaned closer. Don't let them break you. You did the right thing. I just thought you should know. And then she was gone. Vanishing down the hall before anyone could see. But her words stayed. Echoing louder than the mob's cheers. For the first time in days, I didn't feel completely alone. 2 nights later, there was a knock at the shelter door. I froze. Nobody ever came here for me. Not unless it was bad news. The volunteer waved me over. It's for you, she she said quietly, and there he was, the principal, standing awkwardly in the flickering hallway light, a folder tucked under his arm. I stepped outside, pulled the door shut behind me. The air smelled like rain. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he sighed, ran a hand through his hair, looked 10 years older than he did last week. I shouldn't be here, he said, but I had to check on you. My throat tightened. I crossed my arms, unsure. What for? To tell me I'm expelled? His eyes softened. No, not that. He hesitated. My wife, she's angry. She's determined. And she has people listening. I swallowed hard. Of course she did. He shifted the folder under his arm. You did the right thing that day, he said firmly. You saved my daughter, no matter what anyone says. The words hid deep. I didn't know what to say. No one ever defended me like that. He stepped back, his voice lowered. Stay strong. This isn't over, but you're not as alone as you think. Then he turned, walked into the night, leaving me in the rain, shaking from more than just the cold. It started with a letter, folded crisp, slipped into my locker, the school seal stamped on top. My stomach dropped before I even opened it. Formal review of conduct, it read. My name bold at the top. The words blurred as I skimmed. Allegations of endangerment, unauthorized physical contact, possible expulsion pending investigation. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped it. The hallway spun. My brother's voice echoed in my head. Are they going to take us away? The wife had done it. She'd turned whispers into paperwork, and paperwork was dangerous. Paperwork could ruin everything. I crumpled the letter in my fist, felt the edges dig into my palm. Around me, students stared. Some smirked, others whispered. A few looked almost sorry, but none of them spoke up. None of them stood with me. By lunch, the story had spread. She's in trouble. She's getting expelled. Knew she wasn't a hero. I sat at the edge of the cafeteria with my brother. Tried to eat, but every bite tasted like ash. Across the room, the principal's wife stood with her circle, smiling, triumphant. Her eyes met mine, and in that cold, satisfied stare, I knew one thing for sure. She wouldn't stop until I was gone. They called it a review, but it felt like a trial. A long table, 3 staff members sitting stiff in their chairs, clipboards ready, eyes sharp. I sat alone at the other end, my brother waiting outside, my heart pounding so loud I could barely hear. The principal was there, his face unreadable. His wife wasn't, but her voice still filled the room through the written complaint. Reckless, unstable, unsafe. Each word felt like a stone thrown at me. Did you touch the child without permission? Yes, I said. My voice shook. Why? Because she wasn't breathing. Pen scratched across paper. No nods, no warmth, just cold notes. Were you trained to perform this procedure? I nodded. At the shelter, they made us take CPR. Do you have proof of certification? My chest tightened. Proof. The card I once had was long gone. Lost between shelters, between nights on the street. I don't, I whispered. The words tasted like failure. More pens scratching. More silence. I wanted to scream. To tell them to ask the girl herself. To ask her father. To remember the grape on the floor. But all they saw was a homeless teen with no paper to prove her worth. When it ended, they told me they'd review the findings. Cold. Distant. I stepped into the hallway. My brother rushed up, eyes wide. What happened? I swallowed the lump in my throat. Forced a smile that didn't reach my eyes. They're deciding. But deep inside, I already knew. This wasn't about truth. It was about power. And I didn't have any. 2 days passed. 2 days of whispers chasing me down every hall. 2 days of waiting for a verdict I couldn't control. Then the call came. Back to the office. Back to the long table. I walked in with my stomach in knots. The same staff members sat stiff in their seats. Clipboards ready. Expressions blank. But this time, the principal was standing. Not behind his desk. Not silent in his chair. Standing tall. I want my statement on the record, he said firmly. The staff shifted uncomfortably. Mr. Adams, we already have the written complaint. And now you'll have the truth. He cut in. The room froze. Even I held my breath. He looked straight at them. She saved my daughter's life. Each word slow, clear, unshakable. She wasn't reckless. She wasn't dangerous. She acted when no one else did, including us. Silence. No pens scratching this time. Just stillness. If she hadn't stepped in, he continued, my daughter would be dead. And I won't sit here and let anyone twist that into a crime. My chest ached. My throat tightened. No one had ever defended me like that. Not once. The staff exchanged glances. Uneasy. Unsure. And in that moment, for the first time since it all began, I felt the balance shift. Because truth finally had a voice louder than her lies. I should have known it wasn't over. Even after the principal spoke. Even after the staff finally looked at me differently. Because women like her, they didn't stop. They found new weapons. The letter came the next week. Not from the school. From Child Protective Services. Allegation of neglect. Those were the words stamped across the top. My hands went numb. The paper slid from my fingers. My brother picked it up, his eyes wide. What's neglect mean? He asked. I couldn't answer. Because I was choking on fear. She'd done it. She'd dragged my little brother into this. She wasn't just trying to ruin me now. She was trying to take him away. At school, the whispers turned sharper. She's under investigation. CPS is involved. Knew she wasn't fit to raise a kid. I tried to keep my head up. Tried to smile for my brother. But every step felt heavier. Every breath tighter. And when I caught sight of her in the hall, the principal's wife, she didn't even hide it. That same sharp smile. Cold. Triumphant. Like she'd already won. The knock came at 2 in the afternoon. Sharp. Official. The kind of knock that makes your stomach drop. I opened the shelter door. A woman stood there. Navy blazer. Clipboard. Her ID badge caught the light. Child Protective Services, she said calmly. I'm here regarding a report. My throat went dry. My brother's hand tightened around mine. His small fingers clammy. I forced a smile. Come in. The room looked smaller with her in it. Her eyes scanned everything. The thin mattresses. The cracked tiles. The pile of schoolbooks stacked neatly in the corner. She asked questions. Cold. Precise. Where are your parents? Who takes care of him? Do you have income? I answered each one carefully. Voice steady even though my heart was pounding. I showed her the homework charts I kept. The part-time shifts I worked. The meal tickets I stretched for both of us. My brother sat quiet the whole time. Until she finally turned to him. Do you feel safe with your sister? She asked gently. He looked at me. Then back at her. And his voice cracked, but it was strong enough. She's all I have. She takes care of me. Better than anyone. The woman's eyes softened. Just for a second. She scribbled something on her clipboard. When she left, she didn't say much. Just that the investigation would continue. But as the door closed, I sank onto the mattress. Every muscle trembling. Because even if I'd said all the right words, one lie from her could still take him away. 2 days after the visit, I was called to the office again. My stomach twisted the whole walk down the hall. I thought it was the verdict. That CPS had already decided. But when I opened the door, it wasn't staff waiting. It was him. The principal. He looked tired. Dark circles under his eyes. Like the weight of all this was crushing him too. Sit, he said softly. Not the command from before. Something gentler. I sat. My hands clenched in my lap, waiting for the blow. But instead, he slid a stack of papers across the desk. These are letters, he said. From teachers. From staff. Every single one I could get. They've written about your work ethic. Your grades. The way you take care of your brother. My breath caught. I flipped through page after page. Praise, support, proof. I'll be giving these to CPS, he added, along with my own statement. They need to know the truth, not just the lies my wife is spreading. I looked up, stunned. You'd do that? For me? His jaw tightened. For my daughter's savior? Yes. For someone fighting this hard for family? Absolutely. My throat burned. I wanted to cry, but I just nodded, clutching the papers like lifelines. For the first time, I felt the fight wasn't mine alone anymore. The letter came in a plain envelope. No seal, no warning, just one word at the top. Findings. My hands shook as I tore it open. My brother sat beside me, eyes wide. We read together, line by line. Allegations, unfounded. I blinked. Read it again. Unfounded. Meaning not true. Meaning safe. Safe. My brother let out a shaky laugh. Then he threw his arms around me. I knew they wouldn't take me, he whispered. I knew you'd win. I held him tight, but my own chest burned, because I hadn't felt like a winner in years. Until right now. At school the next day, the whispers were different again. The case was dropped. They didn't find anything. Guess she's not as bad as they said. Some kids avoided my eyes. Some looked almost guilty. And a few, just a few, smiled at me. Across the hall, I saw her, the principal's wife. Her face pale, her lips tight, her eyes full of fire. But for once, she had no words. And for the first time ever, I walked past her without lowering my head. Spring came slow. Cold mornings, gray skies, but something felt different now. Lighter. The storm had passed. CPS closed. Whispers fading. I could breathe again. One afternoon, I sat on the bleachers while my brother played soccer. The sun finally breaking through the clouds. That's when I saw her. The little girl, the one I'd saved, running across the field with curls bouncing. She stopped in front of me, smiling, holding something in her small hands. A flower. Dandelion, bright and messy. She held it out. For you, she said. Her voice soft but clear. My chest ached. I took it carefully. Thank you. Her mother stood in the distance, arms crossed, face tight, still watching me like a hawk. But this time, it didn't matter. Because her daughter, the one who had almost died in my arms, saw me not as trash, not as danger, but as someone who mattered. And as my brother ran over, laughing, free, I knew one thing for sure. They could whisper forever. They could twist and claw and hate. But the truth was louder. And the truth was mine.